No Film School's coverage of Cinegear 2019 is brought to you by Blackmagic Design, creating revolutionary solutions for film, post-production, and television, and Firefly, unlimited music and non-GMO hosting.
So let me tell you something really, really funny, Ruben. My mom used to say that video gaming is not going to get me anywhere in life. So right now in my life, if I'm not shooting something, I'm video gaming. And if not video gaming something, I'm typically, shooting. Yeah. Now, however, I see that you guys here at MKV have actually started to combine those two great mediums together. Yeah. So right here is Set Simulator.
Here's Set Simulator. It's a part training tool, it's part editing tool, it's part pre-visualization tool. It's a lot of parts. Initially, it started to train people on wheels, and I designed some levels to help, different scenarios to practice with, to give you the access to things like a technocrane to practice with. Having a camera on a technocrane and playing with wheels, it's a completely different scenario than just putting a laser pen on a geared head and following a figure of 8.
So I put on the headset. It's a VR game at first. I have the wheels interfaced into my system, and I'm pretty much good to go. I can see over here, it lets me know what camera is about to be taken, and then my camera's on, and Soup's, the pressure's on.
Yeah, exactly. It's as much a simulation of what a real live broadcast would be, as far as I can remember it, having done them for ages. And the fun of a concert is, of course, the music. And being able to play to it. And you can put your own music in this as well. The entire show is dynamically generated. So nothing is animated. It's all done procedurally based on the music that you put into it, including the cutting.
And again, you don't have a background in game development for that. It's pretty good, So in terms of the wheels themselves, what wheels are these based around to help?
It's generic wheels, really. They're weighted. These are our own wheels. It's a prototype of that we're making, but they also work currently with the Alpha wheels, Alpha tools, which are awesome little wheels because they also have utility. You can use them outside of the environment of a simulator and make money with them, which is what we're planning to do with these as well. It also works with BlackTech wheels, and there's going to be an iOS app that you can stick onto a real head and control it remotely through that. So that could also be a fluid head. I'm also hoping to get in touch with the people from DJI so I can get the master wheels, the new ARRI wheels, just as many as I can get, up to the ability to let you have an Arduino controller interface with it. So you could design your own wheels if you wanted to. Or, just a old-fashioned joystick, on the gamepad. So as many options as I could give the player or the operator, I try to give. Essentially, I have a library of cameras, lights, I've got some actors, I've got some objects, architectural stuff, and just drag it into the scene. And you can start building out a set this way. So let's say we want a house there, we add a terrain to it. I can draw hills on the terrain, I can form it, shape it, and then I can add in the sun and the sky. I can set the time of day based on GPS coordinates, where you are in the world and the actual time. And then you can start adding in all your film stuff. So, you want a technocrane in there, you just drag a technocrane in.
Is that a technocrane op with it?
Yeah, that's Bob.
Bob is pretty swole from all that technocrane.
You don't tell Bob what to do, basically. So you can put together a lens package, you can set the size of the sensor, and at any time I can switch over to the camera and then using the gamepad just control it. And I can pick my lens at any, my focal length, I can control the focus distance, either manually or automatically. So let's say we really like this. Now let's start, you can start lighting it. So I've got different tools for lighting.
And I even have shadow here to show what part of day I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. And it also shows you that if I turn off the sun for a second, you'll see that you get soft shadows for the diffusion. And if I add the sun back in again, you see the hard shadows that gives.
Can I set what my output on my lights are?
Yes. So I can set, if I just get in on this light here for a second, I can set the intensity, I can set the color temperature, and with most lights I can gel them as well if you want to get really wacky with it. So we'll just let's stick Tom in there, he's our guy. and give him also just a little bit of a little backlight there. Let's make that a little bluer. And we can flag that as well. So we've got flags, different types of flags. Just really you can get as granular as you want with this. It might be a bit tricky to see, but
what's the lighting engine that you use?
the render engine is Unity, with some adjustments made to it for funsies.
So essentially, we live in an industry where we create our floor plans, we map out our lights and everything, but this is really something where I can sit down with my director, with the DP, with the gaffer, with everybody, and we don't have to we walk the location, sure, but we can also sit there and go, listen, I don't have to be here midnight to see what the shot's going to look like. Right. Here's what lights we're going to use, here's everything we're going to use. That's really crazy.
Yeah, well, and there's more. So if I just reset this for a second, one of the other things I can do is I can import external data. So I accept most standard 3D formats. Okay. So if you have a set designer that has built his set in a CAD program, or as the case of this example, it's a photogrammetry file. Let me just turn on the sun for you. So you get an actual location to work with, and this could be done during a recce or any type of scenario where you literally have the physical place to work with. And once again, because this is all in VR, you can see where everything's going to be. So if I stick, if I want to figure out, well, I've got this room to work with, can I stick a technocrane in there? Well, okay, that kind of works. We can get away with that. There you go.
Okay, and then I can cut, of course, to the viewpoint of my camera. So is there a way that I can set an in point and an out point for a maneuver on my camera?
You can record both just the arm and camera together, or just the camera. So you can, and the same with lights and the cast. You can record their movement, play it back, and you could, for instance, have a scenario where the grip might practice the crane bit of the move, and the operator might later go in and, if it's a complicated shot, before the day practice his framing. So he has a good idea, or she, what the shot is going to be and what his work load is going to be on that.
Now, real quick, I know that you said you can import CAD. Could I also import photos or anything, and also to plaster on my world?
Yeah, you can import photos as sort of a backing. So you could have, I've got like a generic green screen environment where you can put photos in the background. If it's not going to be 3D at that point, but it can give you a backing. And so also you can import your script, and it will try to break down each scene into the timeline. And from there you can design your storyboard per setup. Yeah, and you can export that to HTML. The upshot of that is also that if you know someone who knows a bit of web coding, you can change the look to it specifically for your production using CSS. And then from there you can export it to PDF and all that good stuff. The plan is also for each piece of gear to have an input where you can set the rental rate for it. So you can work out scene by scene, setup by setup, day by day, or for the entire production, what equipment you actually need and how much that's going to cost.
So this is not just, again, for the director, for the DP, for the gaffer, for everyone on the recce to go and source it out. This is also for my producer, my line producer, people making the budgets to go, okay, this is the day, this is the gear we're going to use, and this is how we're going to use it.
Exactly. The whole idea is to generate information. And every department has a need for information, whether it's production department, grip department, whatever. Everyone needs to know more than they usually get on the day, because you're trying to sort of answer all these questions and figure out, where do I want stuff to happen? What do I want to happen? So the more I can show them ahead of time of the idea that we're trying to convey, and then work out, well, okay, what do I practically need for this? Do I actually need a technocrane on this day? Or, can we yeah, or a jib on a dolly track. This is a great way of figuring stuff like that out, which will save you time, hopefully.
Now, furthermore, I'm also seeing in this tab color correction here.
I have it's not full on DaVinci Resolve sort of thing, but it gives you basic color correction, your basic tools, gamma, lift, gain, saturation, temperature, and you can pretty radically change the look. Also, it lets you build up a color palette. So you can create sort of an atmosphere throughout the scene. And all of the lights also have volumetric, so you could have mist and atmosphere in the scene. I'm doing pre-built stuff as well, like having an airplane set where you can strip the walls, you can strip seats out of it individually or per row. You know, I'm going to do my best to create a bunch of environments like that that are just already set up with controls for you to, you know, create as you wish.
So I'll be able to kind of load in the sound stage or wherever I'm at and be like, okay, cool, I have the space, I need to build that, I can immediately start painting.
In fact, for schools or anything like that that has its own stage, I can create a customized build that has that stage as the template. So you have that restriction. Because the same with all the equipment in this, they're all limited in a way that they have inertia, they have weight. You can't just throw it around, you know, recklessly. Obviously, in a computer you could do that, but it wouldn't be the point. You know, having those limitations helps out tremendously. Can the move be this fast? You know, and I've created this whole generic city environment as well, with a day-night cycle, just as a sort of saving you time to try to build it. I'm shooting on a block, I'm shooting on a street with buildings in the background, just generic. With VR, I would recommend at least a 1080 graphics card. Without VR, you can get away with a mid-range PC. Obviously, the stronger the graphics card, the better. Right now, only Windows PC. It will eventually come to Mac once they get stronger GPUs. Like that, their external GPU thing is very exciting, so I'm hoping that really becomes a thing, and at that point, I can easily switch this over to OS X.
Thank God I built my PC. Also, I can see that we can now actually recreate and fix the Battle of Winterfell's lighting.
That's literally why I worked hard to get snow in there as well. So the full snow environment or rain, you know, and just create this for funsies. But also useful at night. You know, the torches come on, and the city over here gets full lighting.
So I can really see what everything's doing. Now, what's going to be the price of this, and is it available now?
It's not available yet. I'm hoping to have it done at the end of the month, at least the first version. The training version, which will you know, have a basic part of the editor in it, it won't have all the bells and whistles, will probably be around $150, and then between $100 and $150, and then down the line there will be a subscription version, which will be more aimed at productions and not individual people, which is also, you know, they don't want to own stuff, so, you know, just use it for however long you want, and then you move on.
I'm sure you're still trying to figure it out, but do you know what, in terms of the difference between the training version versus the subscription, what features are going to be in that kind of more production-sided version?
Well, it won't have, the training version won't have the entire script stuff. I'll probably do it so that you have one scene and you can put however many setups you want in there, but that'll be it. It won't have the floor plan builder because you can build your entire floor plan. And it won't have the full color correction suite. Like, it'll just have the basic exposure, temperature, tint, and then the bottom bit, LUTs and everything. You won't have that. So just, you can still do most of the stuff you would want to do just to get shots. And I'll add downloadable content down the line. So, you know, like the floor plan thing might become a download.
Or the latest light or the latest crane, you know, the car crane has come out and now we want to import it into game.
There will be packs as well, so there will be a sci-fi themed pack, a Victorian themed, you know, just whatever theme I can think of, but just generic objects that you can use to style that. The wheels for the simulator only will probably be around between $500 and $1,000. And then they'll be modular and upgradable all the way up to several thousand probably, but that will have motion control and smoothing curves and all the fancy bells and whistles.
So just to recap, so $150 for the base training portion of the game, and then the wheels, you're probably, depending on what wheels it is, $500 to $1,000, and then a subscription for the main game, full regalia, which just hasn't been decided yet.
Yeah, that's roughly where we're at right now. We've got the real world locations in there too, so it integrates with Google Maps. I don't have internet here, or I could show you better. This is the location in the UK that's still in the cache, which is not very interesting. But you can see it tries to create buildings out of the building data in the map. provider's data. It has the GPS coordinates, so the sun is also in the correct position for this. And then within this, I could say, for instance, add in my drone, which is obviously tiny in this, but there you go, you've got a drone. And I can take control of my drone, fly him around, but it now is aware of the GPS location that it's actually in. The virtual drone knows where it is in the real world. So you can use that to your advantage. Or let's say you want to plot out a camera stunt or a car stunt. I've got a camera, a Russian arm here that I can physically drive. So you can work out your stunt path. I've got other cars in there as well, obviously. You can drive it, you can operate the crane on it or the camera, and which, again, all recordable. So you can play it back to your leisure and practice and try it and perfect it and find all the angles that you could want for your car chase.